In the last 24 hours, Modi government has taken 6 big steps. Heads have rolled, stricter laws are in the making, and the question that matters most now is, what is the way forward from here? First, a quick lowdown of actions. Cabinet has already approved a draft bill proposing far tougher punishment and is planning to table it as soon as next week. A special judge has already been appointed to expedite leak cases through fast-track courts. The National Testing Agency is being rebuilt from scratch, with sources confirming the termination of 47 officials. First scalps have also been claimed in Education Ministry, with Higher Education Secretary Vineet Joshi, who has been transferred out. So what's next? Will students finally get the fair, transparent examination system they've been protesting for? Has the government done enough to win back their trust, or will the agitation continue regardless? Joining me on this debate are our esteemed guests this evening. Pooja Bedi joins the debate. I also have Kasturi Shankar joining this debate. We're also joined by Ira Trivedi joining this debate to look at action that has been taken so far. Kiran Bedi, of course, top cop. She's been the LG and she's on the show tonight. Geeta Luthra, advocate, senior advocate, also joining the debate. Kiran Bedi ji, I want to begin with you. We've seen now a long time of unrest, protests. We are in the 26th, 27th day today. Sonam Wangchuk has ended his fast. Negotiations between the CJP happening, government reacting, albeit a little late, but reacting, coming up with solutions and reforms. Where do you think we need to go from here? Ma'am, unmute yourself. Can't quite hear you.
Yeah, got it. Hearing me now, Navika?
Yes, ma'am.
I think the focus should come back to educational reforms. That, to my mind, should remain the focus. And not just only the examination, but educational reforms as a whole. And then when you say as a whole, which means bringing the top academicians of the country together and asking them to list out educational reforms, both in the primary, higher and secondary level, and even at the education higher level. Now, if I would be practically realistic, I've seen the kind of appointments we are making in vice chancellors. I've personally seen, I've experienced it, and I'm sometimes amazed how could such a person be a vice chancellor of such a wonderful, important university. So I think, and number two, don't forget, the primary school and the other schools is also in the state governments. And I've seen many schools without teachers. And I've also seen many schools with teachers whose subjects is not what they're teaching. I'm not mentioning any state or personal, but I'm personally experienced. Therefore, I think while all other developments happen, reforms happen, which are in the direction, and we should wait now for a very interesting, very creative parliamentary debate where everybody gets a chance to say what they want to do. I think the focus should come back on educational reforms. Now, again, when I say educational reforms, also means that anybody who's school boy or girl, 10th standard to 12th standard and post-graduation, what is the employability? What is the skill in hand? What is the skill in hand which makes him or her confident of earning his own livelihood? So employability.
Well said, Kiran Bedi. That is what we should be focusing on. Instead, Geeta Luthra, are we really getting there, or are we just now caught up in the current politics in the game? Are we going to be able to get out of this quagmire before we begin to address the real issues of education reforms?
So I think both things are important. I believe the first most important thing is education. So educationists all over have been crying about syllabuses, they've been crying about employability. They've been crying about the fact that you are recognizing institution after institution without seeing whether it's really giving back to the children. Their parents sell homes, their parents sell their farmland just to educate a child who is not going to be employable. This is the frustration that has set into students. Do we not need a kind of a committee which will have all kinds of stakeholders? We can't just have government. We can't just have parliamentarians. Let's have good educationists who are in the field of education reform. We don't seem to even involve the teachers who are in education reform and do this. This is my first point, which Kiran has already said. But most important, look, we can't go away from the fact that protests are an essential part of a democracy. The right to agree and the right to disagree should be such that channels are open. And frankly, the police have always, police or any person who is in authority, sometimes the military, sometimes police, sometimes paramilitary, and I'm not pointing a finger at any particular force, but sometimes people get carried away. It was in the 1984 riots. Now action is still being taken. So the fact is,
that is true. But have the protesting students now become hostage to really political scores that are being settled? And that is my question to you, Pooja Bedi. Do you think we should be looking at the action that actually puts the lives of and futures of students in better situation, or are we in a situation where literally the students' protest has become a platform for political parties and vested interests to use as a platform for settling scores?
Well, I think, Navika, first thing we need to understand is that we have let down the children of today. Firstly, we need to accept that. The reason that they've come out in such large numbers is because they feel an anger, a frustration, and that they're not being heard. That's point number one. Number two, the news that is being shown, just prior to this debate, there was another news where Mr. Sudhanshu from the BJP was actually talking about how is it that these influencers who are doing cooking shows and beauty shows, and now they're all talking about this protest. Yes, they're talking about this protest because the news being shown on mainstream media is a completely different news that's being shown to them on social media, which is their reality, the reality of what is actually going on at grassroots ground level for them, right? So firstly, there's a huge divide in that, and they're not stupid. They know what's going on, and they're really upset about it. They're in fact egging each other on to go and educate their parents as to what the truth is to the situation, and not to be going by mainstream media. So firstly, thank you for your courage in even asking someone like me to come on the show who's going to actually talk about what's actually happening at a grassroots level, and something that Gen Z and the youngsters of today are really upset about. They have lost faith in a system, which is why they feel the need to rise up and speak up for themselves. That is so sad.
But Pooja Bedi, I come from a point of view where I feel every view is important. Everybody has a view. We all live in the society. We all meet people, and therefore it's. But my question is that we've let down our students. There is no debate on that. Of course, we've let down the students. The education system sucks. The education system sucks in this country. But Kasturi Shankar, my question is, now we've gone through this whole period of agitation, protesting. I want to know also the road ahead. What are we going to do? Are we going to keep protesting, or are we going to be looking at solutions? My question is, where do we go from here and how?
Should be paved with good intentions. Now, when you
first off, thank you for having me on this respected panel. It's a great honor to be speaking alongside Ms. Bedi, who has been a consistent source of inspiration for all of us from our student years, and as an actor and an activist as well, and as a social activist as well. Thank you, ma'am, and Ms. Ludra as well. I heard all of you talk about educational reforms. And yes, we are all agreed that the education system in India needs a lot of reform. But here's something I want to put in. My input is as somebody who has 4 kids in the house. I have 2 kids. One is in 3rd year of college. One is in 9th grade. My brother has 2 kids. One is in 12th grade and one is in 5th grade, right? So never mind the 5th grade child, but the other 3 all had opinions that they shared with me. And this is as follows. Number one, when the protest started, the protest was coming because a NEET paper being leaked on that scale, and that kind of tipped that was the tipping point, because this is not the first time. Paper leaks have been a part of our history for almost 6 decades. And this generation, Gen Z, is a social media influenced generation. They get their news like that. They form their opinions like that. So that was coming. That was considered an injustice. And when the government did not visibly react, we knew there was a problem brewing. But after that, when the protests actually happened, most people didn't focus on it, at least in Telangana and Tamil Nadu. People were not focusing on it until the police came into the picture. And then the sympathy for the protest increased manifold. But now, today, as we speak, the kids in my household are saying, they do not want to identify. These are the people who sympathized with the students' cause, and they say categorically that they want nothing to do with the people who have hijacked the protest completely. They do not want to identify with the Rehaul Gandhi. That is my point. They do not want to identify with the Saurav Das.
Yeah, that is my point.
Yeah.
I mean, now the students' point is reforms, and very well appreciated, need of the hour, long overdue. But has the process now got hijacked? How we bring it back on our rails? Ira Trivedi, your views.
First of all, I feel that Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation is what is being asked for. So why can't that be given? I feel that the Prime Minister has come on social media and he has admitted that there was some amount of wrong done. So what is the problem with the resignation of Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan? That's my big question. And I just feel that this issue is going to get bigger and bigger. I don't think this is going to get forgotten. And I also feel like there needs to be a very focused resolution, because papers leaking, as our other panelist already said, this is not a new problem. This is an age-old problem. And this problem seems to be getting worse in the time of AI. It will get worse. As technology gets more and more advanced, this problem will get more difficult for people to preserve the integrity of of exam papers. So what is being done to prevent these problems in the future? And if something does happen, are we just going to cancel exams again? So I just feel like we need,
or use the Indian Air Force to take question papers from one place to another. Yes, we need lasting solutions to these problems. The question is, should these protests continue? How long? What is the solution that they want? Is a resignation a solution to the problem? Will that solve all the problems, or are reforms something that should be considered independent of the resignation of the minister? Questions that still exist. Where this protest goes? Well, we'll have to wait and watch. Thank you very much, ladies, for joining me on the Newshour tonight. Your views going as support to those students who are looking for answers. Politicians, please take a break. Let solutions come in. Let reforms come in. Let students' lives improve. Politics can always go on. Later, maybe. Thank you very much, viewers, for joining me on the News Hour tonight. Good night, be safe, have a safe weekend.